Good afternoon, Keith Tebow from FRC Media. Thank you for joining us. It is Wednesday, and it's been a couple of weeks since we've spoken during our weekly conversations with Mayor of Fall River, Mayor Paul Coogan. Mayor, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, Keith. How are you?
Good to have daylight savings, light later in the day. Do you have any, by the way, do you have any opinion about there's a bill in Congress that may make this permanent? Do you have any opinion on that?
I think it might make things a little less confusing, but that's about it. I do know the concern is kids in the morning, but the
Yeah.
counter to that is allowing them to go out in the afternoon. So it's 50,
There's always a there's
yeah,
always a give and take, right, for
50,
whatever we do.
50. Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't spoken in a couple of weeks. I actually want to start with the issue of the new Diman Regional Vocational Technical High School. A couple of weeks ago, the city council voted not to um, rescind its earlier vote, if you will, or in some ways to uphold or actually overturn your veto of it. So, in effect, at this point, the city residents may not have an opportunity to chime in on the project. I guess where does it stand in your view?
I think it's still working its way through the system right now. I have said from the start, and I'll say it again, even though I support the project, I believe that the citizens should have say on something like this. The cost, um, 30 years at 6.5 million is around 200, a little over $200 million. That's such a significant bill. I know they just went through this in Taunton with Bristol Plymouth. Most places will go to the voters on a project of this size, and I think that's what we should do in Fall River. We did it with Durfee. We went out, we did the work, we got the votes necessary to pass it, and I think Diman would find a similar result. But I do not think that putting either that kind of reductions in city government or that kind of a bill on a tax bill, that kind of amount on a tax bill should go to the voters. That's my opinion. They should be able to weigh in on this, and not myself and 4 or 5 other people up here making a decision that has that kind of impact.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I guess, based on the proposal, the Diamond proposal, cities and towns wouldn't begin to see a bill, if you will, to start paying for it for another, I believe, FY24. It's another couple of years or so. So does that still give you the opportunity to work with the council to see if you can, get a debt exclusion back on the ballot between now and then? I guess there is no rush in
Right.
in some aspects, right?
Well, the only rush would be of the commitment of all the towns to fund it. What happens if 2 years from now someone says, "Oh, we're not going to do a debt exclusion, we're pulling out," or or someone can't come up with their share of the money? Then it's going to be left to the remaining communities. I think in an ideal world, I would like to see exactly what Bristol Plymouth did. The entire regional group of communities all vote on the same day, and we get a good direction on which way we want to go with this. I think it's important, and I think that that's the way to do it. I don't think that what's going to happen to Diamond if they go forward with the plan as is without going to the voters is going to be a positive thing. I think it's going to be always a contentious point. As much as it's difficult with the Durfee debt exclusion, everybody had the opportunity to weigh in, and I think that's how you do things like this.
Is there still a potential problem in that, from what I understand, Somerset, Westport, and Swansea, through their selectmen, or in the case of Somerset, I believe they did have a town meeting vote, they sort of approved moving forward with the project. Is there still some questions in terms of the legality of the city council in terms of whether their vote is actually the binding vote to move the project forward? Is that
I,
still up
I,
for
I
debate?
I don't believe it's the binding vote yet. I think, and even in some of those other communities you referenced, I think that not a one of them has put in place how they're going to fund it. I mean, it's one thing to say I'm for something, but then when the amounts on the tax bills or people understand what they're going to pay, sometimes it changes. I think that clarity and transparency should rule the day on something like this, and that's why I favor to have the public vote on the debt override.
Now, is this something that would have to come from Diamond in your mind?
No, it can come from the council. They can take the steps necessary to push this to a vote of the residents. I think that's the way to go. I know that there are some people on the council that want to go that route, and hopefully we'll have enough of them that that decide that that would be the best thing for the city, for the project, and for the kids at Diamond. We don't want something to come online in 3 or 4 years where people are saying, "Oh, that one voted for it, they're not there. This one did this." I just think it's just a better way. It's a better look, and I think it makes it a much cleaner process.
All right, let me change gears now. The City of Fall River is in line to receive $1.5 million from the federal government through Congressman Jake Auchincloss, as well as Congressman Keating. He still represents our district in terms of money that will help improve parking situation on the waterfront, primarily near the Narrow Center, that part of the waterfront. Talk about how you hope to use that money.
Yeah, that came out of actually discussions with Pat Norton down at the Narrows at one point. He suggested that to me, and we ended up obviously going to our federal delegation. Jake's been great for Fall River. I think it was Jake and Markey that were the main drivers of this. I'm sure Keating and Warren weighed in on its positives, but at the same time, those were the people we talked to that seemed like they moved it along. I think what people will see, hopefully, as we move forward here is a salt shed out next to the old Sam's Club that will be the exclusive use of the state to get their salt into the trucks when there's a storm and right onto the highway right there at Drayton Avenue and 24. So they're not going to be passing any houses, and they have the opportunity to grab a coffee at McDonald's or Cumberland Farms and get on the highway. And underneath the Braga Bridge, we look forward to having a flat parking area. There's already a couple there, but we plan on using the money to pave it and hopefully extend Pond Road through where it's a little bit overgrown and there's some piles there now so that people can at least walk the back way over to Troy City Brewery or the Narrows, and again open up that to safety vehicles if they have to get back behind those mills for something that's wrong. But it's going to be a great little plus for the city. It's not a earth-shattering project, but it's a very efficient way to increase parking on the waterfront and do something good for the residents.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll also help again if there's any events down at the gates, right, a little bit further
Absolutely.
down,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. We can open up some
And
parking.
yeah, any timeline and when we can expect to see something, or
We have some work to do on the road in front of Sam's Club right now. That's an easement. We got to make sure we have the proper designation for that road. We're working on that already, along with city engineer and the state. And then we can look to negotiate with Sam's Club on the land. We've already had some initial conversations about how we need about an acre of land, and then we can get our salt sheds up there, get a fence up, get some lights, and find a place to have the trucks turn around and pick up the salt when there's a storm, and out they go. That's all it's used for under the bridge right now, and that's why it's, what's it used 6-7 times a year. If we have 6 or 7 storms, and that's about it, and the rest of the time it sits dormant. So we could sure put it to use for parking, and let's see if we can get it done.
yeah. Finally, I want to bring up a great event that was held today, the announcement of the Youth of the Year. This has been done, I believe, I think this is the 15th year that the city has spotlighted the great work of many of our youth across the community. It was a great event this morning at the Granite Grill at Durfee High School. And, it's always great to see, right, how great the work that many students are doing that we don't hear a lot about.
It is so true, Keith. The negatives sometimes about our youth overwhelm the positives. But when you had a core group like that from Atlantis, Diman, Durfee, all they're looking to see who is going to be the Youth of the Year. And it's just so important. And you read the contributions these kids make in the community, in the schools. They are role models for younger kids. Matter of fact, it's so funny because the young lady that won, I had just talked to her. She was the former representative on the school committee. She was in the play Chicago. And on Saturday, Durfee will be competing over at Case in the theater competition for the states. And she's got a role in that also. So it's just funny that she was the one whose name was pulled, because as I said to you, or I said to the people there, I would want nothing to do with judging that contest about who's the Youth of the Year when you got a strong field like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations to Soleil Goss, Durfee High School senior. She is the Youth of the Year. All right, Mayor Coogan, I appreciate your time as always. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Okay. Thank you, Keith.
All right. And thank you for joining us as always on FRC Media. Have a great day.